Monday. Happy Monday, y'all. Welcome to the Melanated Way. I'm Linda Antwi. Listen, y'all. Listen. Woo! It's been a crazy few weeks. And it's been a crazy few weeks. So we're back. I want to say the B word, but I'm just too scared to say a lot of things on YouTube. I don't even know what happened, but we are back. Thank you guys all for hanging in with me. Thank you guys all so much for the support, the kind words, the Cashapps and Venmos from my Patreon subscribers. I appreciate you guys so very much. Shout out to Christina, who was down in the trenches with me. Shout out to Gio, who was like a daily support. And to my Patreon family, just, I love you guys. You guys are the best. And I appreciate being back on YouTube. What up, live chat? Hey, girls. Hey, and guys. Hey. So, yeah, there was a lot. I'm not actually going to get into too many details. I'll just say that there was a lot of prayers going on, and I still don't really understand what exactly happened, but it happened. They deleted my channel. I woke up this morning and one of the subscribers said, "Oh, you're back." And I didn't even realize we were back. And then I checked my emails and, YouTube said they did it erroneously. Oh, actually, maybe I'll read it. Should I read it? Maybe I'll read parts of it. Hi, Linda Antwi, The Melanated Way. We're pleased to let you know that we recently reviewed your YouTube account. And after taking another look, we can confirm that it is not in violation of our terms of service. We have lifted the suspension of your account and is once again active and operational. We'd like to thank you for your patience. While we reviewed this case, our goal is to make sure content doesn't violate our community guidelines so that YouTube can be a safe place for all. And sometimes we make mistakes trying to get it right. We hope you understand, and we're sorry for any inconvenience or frustration this has caused. So, you guys, I try to stay in my own lane. I try to do my own little thing. I don't get into YouTube words. I don't even, you guys, y'all know me. You guys are not new here. So whatever it is, it's done. Thank you, God. So yeah, here we are. So we're going to jump into, I cannot wait to talk about this, 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, Season 4, Episode 3, If You Jump, You Plunge. And I have special guests because, we love her here. She's family. April's in the house.
Hello.
Woo, April, what a week. What a week. April's like, what's up with your YouTube page? I'm like, I don't know. They deleted it, girl. They deleted it.
I'm so glad you're back.
Me too. Because, and you know what, you guys, it just reminds me that back everything up. Have a plan B, and don't forget to pray, because I feel like as you grow and just grow as a person, grows a channel, grows a creator, there's going to be a lot of things out there that are going to be obstacles in your way. And so you have to be prepared for that. So I was not prepared, y'all. And it happened on Valentine's Day, and I didn't have a Valentine's, and I couldn't even talk to y'all. What?
I'm sad it happened to you, but at the time I needed more space on my computer. So I was like, oh, I have videos on YouTube. I don't need to keep those on my computer. And then that happened, and I was like,
Yeah, I have a lot of videos. So I'm trying to create a whole backup plan and all the things. And you guys, I'm going to create a backup page as well. So I'm going to tell you guys to subscribe to that as well. I do have the Gadget Girlie. I know, April, you were able to find it. That is definitely like an old one that I started because, I'm all about technology. But I am going to tell you guys about it so that you know where else to go. That being said, what were your overall thoughts of this episode, April? And by the way, there's a bunch of Hey Aprils. Hey April, hey April.
Hi,
hey,
everybody.
Hey. Carol says hey April. Radella says hey April. Rebecca says, I love your positivity because I would be ready to cuss out. Rebecca, listen, girl, listen. I would be still cussing if I was going to cuss some people out. So I just have to like roll with the punches. I was really upset earlier this week. But I will tell you this, you guys, there's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of good people out there. And I was surrounded by a lot of positivity and kind words. Someone started like a Reddit, which, you know, shout out to that person. Someone sent me an email saying, I'm in crisis. I can't find your channel. And so I really just realized that, you know, we do a lot of great stuff here on this page, and we touch lives, and you guys touch our lives. And so thank you for all the kind words and the supports and the prayers and all the things. April, what are your thoughts?
Do you have anybody to root for? I don't have anybody to root for yet.
In this season?
Yes.
I'm about Debbie. I like her eccentric vibes. I think her son is a little bit on the shady side, but we'll talk about it. But Debbie's living her best life, and I'm here for it.
I just want somebody to like. I haven't. I mean, I like Danielle, but I want somebody to be like, oh my God, I really want this to work for them. Against all odds, I want it to happen. And I don't feel that way about anybody.
Wow. Hey, midwife Crystal. Hey, girl. Hey, from across the pond. Okay, well, let's get into it. So we're gonna start with Kris and Jeymi. Jeymi. Okay, so you know, the last time we were here, because there wasn't an episode last week, but the previous week, April, the last time we were here, you know, I said a lot of stuff about Kris. We had Jeymi in the live chat. Am I saying it right? Is it Jamie or Jeymi?
The way she says it is Jamie, but it's pronounced like it's Jimmy, right? I mean, it's spelled like it's Jimmy. Maybe it's because in Spanish the E is an A.
Yeah. So let's go with Jeymi. So I already think Kris is problematic. And, you know, I also told you guys that I think Jeymi's going to be problematic. So now we have two problematic people that have finally met up in Colombia. And I just still don't understand how we're already here. So they've never met in person. Jeymi's excited that Kris is landing. But, you know, Kris is coming with not only a bunch of bags, but with a bunch of baggage. And I don't think, personally, April, that she's worked through the baggage that she's bringing. And no. I'm not talking about her clothes.
Absolutely not.
So she's like getting on and don't forget, you guys, this is the first time that Kris has ever left America. First time on a plane. First. She's marrying this woman that she's never met. She sent over money so that this woman could get an apartment that they can both live in, but she never saw the apartment. Didn't get, like, the both of them didn't get approvals together. Jeymi just went ahead and said, I'm going to sign the lease, even though it's more than the budget and you're paying, but who cares? Like, I don't know if there's more red flags possible, April. Yeah. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I am not super hopeful about it, because where is even the conversation about why you decided to go over budget?
Right.
Like,
right. Because you guys know all the issues that are coming up with all these couples, or all the things I already tell you guys. Why did you not have the conversation about money? Why are you guys not having the conversation about religion? Why are you guys not having the conversation about children? Why? Why are you guys not having the conversation about sex? Even these two. And I want to put a disclaimer out, because I'm a little video shy after they tried to cancel me on YouTube. But I want to be able to talk freely and openly about the issues that are presented here, because it's really a learning lesson. So anyone who has sensitive ears or whatever, if you guys are trying to, like, I don't know, report my page or whatever, when we're talking about transgender stuff, we're talking about same-sex couples, all the things, is because I'm trying to learn and I'm trying to educate myself. And I think with education comes understanding. With understanding comes love. So if that's not for you, then just move along, but don't wreck it for the rest of us who are trying to learn. April has a lot of knowledge and information, and I've said that since the beginning of this season, and I love having her on the show. Plus, she's already family, so why not learn from her, right? So we're probably going to be talking about some stuff here. I'm not trying to violate anything. I'm just letting y'all know. Okay. It's all education so we can understand each other. And I think that the more we understand, the less we'll discriminate. And discrimination comes in lots of ways. It's not just racial discrimination, right? Transgenders go through some different discrimination. Same sex go through some different discrimination, just discrimination in general. So let's talk about it. Let's all be adults. We don't all have to agree, but we can talk about it.
Right.
So
Kris is coming into not only having never left the country, she's cultural shock is going to be an issue. She's never lived in a city. She lives in a rural part of Alabama and they're in a city. And she's also never openly been in a lesbian relationship. She said she go to gay clubs. So
that part.
Yeah, this is going to be your first time in an actual open lesbian relationship. Like what else can we pile on top of them?
Right. And also we don't even see how she deals with like adversity. We already know she's in a brand new place. So like you said, there's a lot of stuff that you have to be a very strong person to have all these changes happen all at once and not think that it's going to affect you.
Exactly.
And then you still want to talk about, you know, you have narcolepsy, night terrors, all the things. And I'm not convinced that there's not like a substance abuse situation going on. You know what I mean? So she lands, she does what I call the Darcy airport bath, where she does the freshen up that Darcy made so famous. And then they meet, they hug, they kiss. They're like, I waited a year for this moment. They think each other is beautiful. It's like a whole meet cute. They think it's perfect. You're perfect. No, you're perfect. Listen, y'all, that moment is probably gonna be the best moment they have of the whole trip. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, yes, I called it a trip. I don't think, April, by the end of this season, that these two are gonna still be together.
I don't have high hopes.
I don't have high hopes. And even Kris says so much could go wrong. And she realizes that she's not, hey, Amanda, hey, girl, hey, she's not in Alabama anymore. Okay. And I mean, she's never left Alabama. So she's in for a lot of shocks.
Yes.
In her life. But I feel like they're in this like bubble. They're in this like love bubble that's unrealistic, April, because they built up their relationship in their minds, what they think it's going to be, but they don't have any real life practical experience. And you guys already know, and you can come for me all you want, I don't believe online relationships are real romantic relationships until you have spent time in real life with that person. Yeah. And I'm going to take it one step further because of the crazy week that I've already had, or last week, whatever day it is. And I'm going to say this, y'all can meet and be on vacay, holiday mode, but it's not the same thing when you live with the person. And these two now have moved in together, and neither of them, like April said, have ever been in the same sex out couple. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, like just, you know, an official couple out and about.
That's it.
You know, that hasn't happened. And now she's going to be, you know, unless she learned Spanish and they didn't show it yet, she's 100% reliant on Jeymi to do even the most basic of things. That's a lot of pressure on any relationship.
And then Jeymi's also going to expect her to financially care for her, right? So that talk about, oh, well, I told her to get this apartment and she went $100 over budget.
Yeah.
And we already know that Kris was sending Jeymi money.
Right.
In the past. So like the dynamic is, in my opinion, is already off.
It reminded me of, remember when Ed and Rose were out in the street and he was trying to buy something and she just snatched the money from his hand and paid it? Like, she just didn't think that was a big deal because you're American, you have more money. Yeah. And so just give it to these workers who need it. Yeah. So it's already like that mindset. I feel like Jeymi might have a little bit of that mindset. What is $100 to you? It's no big deal.
That part. So they're on the way to their new house. And they're still like in this romantic bubble. Jeymi's like, this is my happiness forever and forever. And I don't know if I'm just a pessimist, but I'm like, y'all have met each other for 5 minutes. Yeah, of course it's going to seem like forever and ever, but let's get to the apartment and let's see what happens.
We'll see.
We'll see. So, what we find out is that Kris asked Jeymi to move to a different apartment because she felt like Jeymi's old apartment was too small. She wanted, quote, and like when I say I cringed because it's just such an American mentality. And I'm not coming for you Americans, but I'm just saying when you travel, you guys are a little funny style.
You can come for us. You can come for us.
She wants a American kitchen, quote unquote, and finds out that Jeymi picked the place without discussing it with her, without saying that she's going to be over budget. But Jeymi thinks that she did a good thing because she got all the requirements that Kris said that she was going to need.
Mm-hmm.
They open the door, and this is the thing. And again, I may be my own person. I might be like, you know, not the popular opinion, but here's what I'm going to tell you. They open the doors. Apartment's nice. It's great. April, it's great. But what I'm not about to do is spend a bunch of money on some friggin' balloons that are going to deflate and not have furniture.
So I was thinking maybe she was like, let's wait and get the furniture together so it can be both of their styles. Is that what she was thinking? Or is she like Rebecca and she just couldn't afford to get furniture?
I think that she's waiting to use Kris's money, that she didn't want to spend any of her money. But here's what I'm saying. What did you do? Did you not have furniture in your old place? Because even if it's what you're saying, April, that she waited, have some temporary furniture and then go furniture shopping together and have new furniture. Why do you have no furniture?
That's true. That's true. And at least Rebecca had a shopping cart for Zaid.
I mean, something. Because this right here, I was like, you spent money on these helium balloons? At least, this is at least $50. You could have got a side table, an end table, something. I am not for this at all. Jazzo says, I hear Jeymi is a lawyer. She is a lawyer. She's been a lawyer for the past 10 years. But she's not practicing right now. Her life, she says, has taken her in a different direction. And Rebecca says, Jeymi, we've got questions. I wish she was in the live chat again today because we definitely have questions, Rebecca. Natatat said, I had the same thoughts about the balloons, and there were like a bunch of those really expensive decorative balloons. Who made them? Not for it. Not for it at all. So, no furniture, but they have balloons. Then we meet Zoe, Jeymi's dog, and I thought that he or she, Zoe's a girl's name, so she's probably like the most healthy person, animal, living being in that apartment right now. And then, because they had to be cliche, and I'm convinced that TLC production had something to do with this, but the bed pillows
are boobies.
Were so lame. Like, I don't know. I just felt like they were so stereotypical. Like, you want to be like, oh, this is a same-sex couple. I don't know. What did you think?
I thought it was a funny little joke. Like, they're just meeting each other. They know that they want to be sexual. Just a little light in the mood kind of joke. But also, I'm corny and I know that. So
you were for them?
I would not want them, but I did think it was to walk in the room and see that it was a little funny thing that they could laugh at.
Yeah, those couldn't be my pillows for every single day. And then I think about the money that you spent when you don't have any furniture. I feel like that's not like a luxury. Or excuse me, that's like a luxury. It's not like an everyday, like that's an everyday pillow that you can pop out and be like, oh, we're using these pillows. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just a Debbie Downer.
I think it's just really bothering me that she has no like even temporary furniture in there. So everything else that is in there is like,
yeah, it jumps out at me, and it's not okay. So then, Kris sits on the bed and she wants to talk about her narcolepsy. She wants to talk about her night terrors. She wants to talk about all the bad things. And I was like, wow, that was quick. So that whole love bubble, all of a sudden you're just like bursting the bubbles and be like, hey, listen, I don't know if you're going to sleep well tonight because like I get night terrors and I might like karate chop you in your sleep, just so you know. Um, but it was a lot. So they both put on their sexy lingerie for their first night. I don't know, you guys. I felt like they had awkward energy, and I don't know if it's because like you've never met and it's like your first time seeing each other, but their energy just I was like, why do I feel awkward? I'm just watching it. I can only imagine. Like it protruded through the screen. Did you
Yeah.
think that?
I felt like it was awkward because there was no, it was just we got here and let's both change into lingerie. Like, is there more that happened before then? It just felt weird that there was no transition. Because even with like Gino and Jasmine, it was, exchange some gifts, have a little chat, and then they moved into her changing into her lingerie. So I don't know if it was because the camera, cut us off from seeing some of that stuff, but it did feel like an awkward, really rushed transition to lingerie.
Yuli, hey Yuli, I saw you today. Thank you for being on the channel. Yuli's got jokes, by the way. So Yuli said it was awkward. C. Cruz says I felt her low energy as well. Joslo says they looked extremely awkward, like they didn't know what to do next. And then Carol, because Carol's the voice of reason, said it might have been awkward because being filmed, that takes away connection.
I mean, they could have said we're changing into lingerie now, so we're not going to film that part. So let's go do a different activity that we can film. But they chose to have that part filmed. So also, sorry, backing up a little bit. At the airport, she was like, she's shorter than I imagined. Did they not share their heights with each other?
Listen, they didn't talk about anything, girl. They didn't talk about nothing. That's why I already know they're going to be problematic. They didn't talk about anything. They didn't talk about money. They didn't talk about their preferences. They both have never been in a same-sex relationship ever. Kris has never left the country. Kris doesn't know the language. Jeymi expects Kris to pay for everything. Like, should I go on?
You could go on.
I could go on, but all I'm saying is that this right here is a train wreck, and we're about to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, Yuli said the same thing. Yeah, these two are a wreck waiting to happen, allegedly. All right, we're moving on to Jen and Rishi. I want to tell. So here's my question, and it might seem like I'm uncultured, but I really am cultured. I just don't understand. I don't understand Rishi, just like I don't understand Sumit. So culturally, I know that in India there are a lot of arranged marriages, and I'm from Canada, and I've gone to friends' arranged marriages, and they've actually lasted a long time. I know friends that have been married for a long time now through arranged marriages. But the part that I don't understand is why do these two specifically not have the ability to talk to their family members? Like why are we hiding that you have a foreign girlfriend, you have a foreign fiance, you have a foreign wife? I don't understand it. And you guys are like in your 30s, so it can't be like, oh, I can't talk because I'm young and immature. Like, I don't get it. Do you, April?
I don't get her because she's grown and she could say whatever she wants. But him, I feel like he's still a child because in his family, it seems like unless you're married, you're a child. You have no status, no position. And maybe he also feels like until she actually arrives and she's here, I can't count on her coming. Maybe there's been, well, not even maybe, but there's been situations where people will talk to someone outside of the country for years and say they're coming, but they never do. So maybe he's just like, until she actually arrives and she sets foot here, I can't count her as real. Am I giving him too much credit?
Yeah, way too much credit. Just way, because then why did he even then take the time to propose to her?
I mean, how many times have you been proposed to? We talked about this. When you go to the Dominican Republic or other places, you've been proposed to a lot, right? So I feel like
but you don't say yes. You say no, thank you. I'm flattered, but no, thank you.
No, some of these women say yes, and they go back to wherever they're from, mostly the US, and continue like chatting on WhatsApp or over Facebook Messenger or whatever in these relationships, and they never actually go back for the person. And so maybe there's this idea that, you know, until you set foot back here, then you're not real. You're not serious about me.
It's weird. I just think it's weird. And I think it's weird that they don't have these two, Sumit and Rishi, just don't have the ability to talk to their families. I just think it's weird.
Yeah.
So Jen pulls out a wedding dress. It's her mom's wedding dress from 1971. And she wants to take it with her. She doesn't know how she's going to incorporate it into her wedding, but it reminds her of home. And so she wants to be able to like have a part of her when she gets married. Love her brother. His voice still freaks me out because he sounds exactly like Tim.
He does.
Exactly like Tim. And he doesn't talk a lot, but when he talks, he's hilarious. He's like, who's carrying the luggage? Well, you know you're carrying the luggage. Look at the women around you. They're looking at you like, what? So the family takes her to the airport. And, you know, they say their goodbyes. And we find out that Rishi has also found her an apartment. And she's going to be living in an apartment, but he's not going to be living in the apartment because they haven't seen each other in a few years. They want to reconnect and get to know each other, make sure they're still an attraction, make sure that he's the person that she thought he was, and vice versa, I'm assuming. But I'm going to tell you right now that I don't think these two are going to work out either. I think that not only are they in different places in their lives, but she's expecting more for him than he is of her. Like, I don't even understand his motives of why he wants to marry her, because I don't really think he wants to marry her unless it's a green card situation. What do you think, April?
I can't tell yet. I want to know more about them. I can't tell yet, but I know that she's going to want to be catered to probably a lot more than he has time for.
Interesting. Esper Higohe says, would be strange to accept a proposal without first having the whole family know you are together. That's how people end up having several partners who don't know about each other. That part. Remember, you're not wrong.
Yohan did the same thing. Danielle was there to get married and his family didn't even know. He wanted to wait till she was real.
But I feel like the Dominican has a little bit of a different je ne sais quoi. Like, we're all on board with the foreigners because we know that if they're supporting you, they're supporting us. Mm-hmm. And whatever's good for you is going to be good for us. Like, there's a whole thing. I can't remember the name of it. Stanky Panky.
Stanky Panky.
Yeah, that part.
See, he had to make sure his panky came back. Or which one is a Stanky Panky? Is that the guy or the girl?
It's definitely the guy.
The immigrant or the American? Whichever way it goes. He was like, I need her to come back here before I tell my family that this is really happening.
Yep, that part. So, brother thinks that this is garbage, thinks that she's sacrificing too much, and then he knows her history with men, so he feels like this is not going to go smooth. It's going to be uphill battle. And honestly, I think Charles thinks that she's going to be back in no time. Like, he's just not feeling it at all.
Yeah.
And she's like, but it's a risk I have to take. I have to say goodbye, Oklahoma, and hello, India. Oh, Lord. She says that she had written off men and relationships, and this is, quote, her last chance for love. You always say it's your last chance for love. I've heard it on the show so many times. I've heard, I'm done, like a million times, and this is my last chance a million times. Like, y'all know it's not your last chance.
It's not.
Just stop it. Just stop it. So, okay, so then we go to... I don't want to do them yet. I'm not going to do them yet. Let's talk about her significant other. So, hold the line. This is Nicole. I don't need them yet. More Nicole. I can't wait to talk about Debbie. Okay, yeah, so... she gets on the plane. She gets there. She's like, oh, she lands. She talks about the Indian air. I don't know if any of you guys have been to India before, but there is a distinct smell. So you definitely know, like she said, you're not in the U.S. anymore, or wherever you're from, Canada, wherever you're from. It has a very distinct smell, and it like hits you, and then you like, it's all good. Have you ever been, April?
I haven't been, but I knew exactly what she was talking about.
Yeah.
Is it spice?
It's
like a sticky, like when I landed in Morocco, I definitely was like,
it's that. It's like there's like a moisture that you're not used to. And then, yes, there's like a little bit of like spiciness to it, but also
the body odor is different.
Yeah, you can tell that there's all of that.
But the weird thing is, like, you smell it, and then just it doesn't take that long, and then it doesn't exist.
And then you don't smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when it first happens. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes
absolutely.
Yuli.
Yuli cannot. She's so funny. Okay, so she's happy to be back in India. She's exhausted. She's got still 6 hours because Rishi lives 6 hours from the capital or something like that. So she's going to stay over in a hotel, get some rest, and she's going to continue her journey the next day. And then we get to Rishi's house, and they're eating roti. And I don't know if you guys have never had roti. If you have it, you're missing out in your life. It's so delicious. I was like salivating. But they're having roti, lentils, potatoes, and you know me, I always love when they include like part of the culture, because for people that aren't able to travel as often, you just get a little piece of it, and I think it's wonderful. And I think that they should have actually explained a little bit more what they were making, because I know, Bonnie, roti is so delicious, and you put, oh my gosh, you with the yellow curry or the green curry. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Dal too, that looked really good too. You're right. So anyways, let me not get on a food tip. So what we learn about Rishi is that he lives with 5 other people: his mom, his brother, his uncle, his aunt, his cousin, and of course himself. We learned that his dad had recently passed, so he is now considered the man of the house, which is not uncommon in a lot of immigrant houses, right? The male child, the firstborn, if the father has passed, then they're like the man of the house. That's not like uncommon until they get married, and then they have their own families and that whole thing. But what I thought was interesting about this is that Rishi's mom, Simla, is saying that there's a bunch of proposals coming in. They're coming in from the village, they're coming in from the city, and she can't stop them. So we need to figure it out. And he's like, oh, I need some time. She's like, I do not have any time. So the first family's coming tomorrow. You're going to make a little time to meet the girl. Here's the picture. Go ahead and handle your business. But what we're not about to do is let you roll anymore, because you're getting a little bit older, and she feels like she's old enough that they want to find a bride for him, so that they can bring her into the family as a daughter-in-law, so that she can mesh with the family. So already we know where she's supposed to live. She's supposed to live in the house with the 5 of them. So it's going to be 6 of them now. And she's going to take over all the housework duties so that mom can chill, because mom feels like, I'm getting too old to have all these responsibilities. You need to go ahead and get yourself a wife who's going to go ahead and take care of the household. And taking care of the household also means taking care of me. Just so you know that in the Indian culture, it is like that. You are taking care of that family, period. So mom wants to free herself of responsibility, so she is even more apt to find him a wife. And he's like sitting there like, oh, well, I'll think about it. And what's there to think about? Your wife is 15 years older than you. You already said there's a language barrier, there's a cultural difference, and you're hiding the fact that you proposed to this woman when you already know what your responsibilities are at the house. So like, make it make sense, April.
And she is not going to come in and cook and clean for anybody.
That part. You picked the wrong lady. Like, go ahead and have like your foreign affair, do all the things, but at least pick the right person. Because this woman here, who's not already lived her life, she's in her how old is she anyways? 48, I think, maybe. I don't know. But she ain't doing all that.
And the weird thing is, he could actually find If he specifically wanted an American woman, he could find one who was willing to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not the one.
Oh, absolutely. Just not this one.
Or the two.
Just not this one. Bonnie says that she's 44.
Oh.
So he's only 29 because he said that she's 15 years older than him. I don't
He's only 44?
I don't know.
Are we sure she's 44?
I don't know. I felt like she was older.
I did too.
I'll have to look back in my notes. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about who are we going to talk about next? Because I have a lot to say about a lot of things. Oh, this is MILF Manor. I cannot stop watching. I know it's terrible of me, and I know I'm probably, not the best person, but I can't not watch it. It's like,
I haven't seen any of it yet. It's that addictive.
It's just unbelievable. Yeah, she's 48. I'm going with 48 because that's what came in my mind. And that's what I remember. So we're going with 48. Rebecca said the math is not mathing. Let's talk about this couple right here. I
feel like there's a photo coming. Is there a photo coming?
Oh, Nicole. Okay, so what are your first impressions before I go off on a tangent?
My first impression is...
Hey, Bobby. Hey, girl. Hey, Bobby.
When she said in the car with her parents that she did not want to go to Egypt. She wanted to be with Mahmoud, but she doesn't want to live in Egypt. She doesn't like it. As a parent, why did neither one of them say, well, then what are you doing? Turn this car around.
Okay, I agree with you. But I'm going to go on a limb and say, first of all, Nicole, what you're not about to do is go to Egypt and live there. You hate Egypt. You've made it very abundantly clear that you don't want to live in Egypt. You don't want to change your style. Your whole life has been about fashion and fitum and thrifting and all the things. We even look at what you're wearing and all your outfits are like super retro and that's your lifestyle. So that you're not changing. Second part is you already know that your relationship was not working out. And so you left after 2 months and you haven't worked on your relationship since then, but you somehow miraculously think that love is going to conquer all. When you two are so different, and not even because you can be in a relationship with someone who's culturally different than you. You can be in a relationship with someone if you've had the conversation where your faith or religion is different, and yet you guys want to be on the same page about some things. You can even do that. But what you're not going to do is change a whole country. You're not going to change what Egypt's about. You're not going to change what Mahmoud is about and what he finds important. And then you want to go ahead and say that you converted to Muslim, but you're going to pick and choose the parts that agree with you. Like, that doesn't even make sense to me. So I just feel, April, that she should just stay in Los Angeles, continue to do her Uber Eats or whatever it is that she was doing, and go ahead and call it a day.
Yeah. So I have a question. She says that when she was deciding to convert, that Mahmoud just told her, all you have to do is say the sand something.
Yep.
You remember what the word was?
Uh-uh.
And then like just say that, and that was it, and you'll be a Muslim, right? Kim said that Usman told her multiple things about, his culture, and she just took his word for it about what polyamory was, right? Or polygamy was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. At what point, when you have a partner who is telling you about like their culture or background, at what point do you go and do your own research?
In the very beginning.
Because like, how does that even make sense to you? Oh, I just say this and I'm Muslim and I don't need to do anything else. How does that make sense to you that you can marry someone and then they can marry another person and have children with them and then come live with you for 6 months out of the year and not pay any attention to their other partner?
And it's just so ridiculous.
Like, how does that make sense to you?
It doesn't make any sense, April. It doesn't. And you don't do any research and you just say whatever it is that you're going to say, but then they're going to turn around and say, oh, this is important to me and all the things. Like, no, obviously it's not important because you've had a whole, year apart from your husband and you still haven't learned anything, but you want to claim that you're Muslim, but you only want to claim parts of it, the parts that work for you. That is insulting.
She's like, I'm never covering my head again. How many episodes in do you think we're going to be before we see her with her head covered again?
Girl, listen. she's about to have her head covered next week. So, Mahmoud, and he answered some questions because I was like, how did these two even meet? Right? Because last time she went into a fabric shop and I was like, what was he doing in a fabric shop? Well, turns out he's a manager for a fabric store. He's been working there for 12 years and he loves it there even more now because he met his wife there, meaning Nicole. He thinks Nicole is sweet and crazy and strong and amazing. He loves everything about her, but they come from two different worlds. And so he's not sure if love is going to be enough. And I'm going to tell you right now, love is not going to be enough for these two. Okay. There is no compromising on either of the parts. Like when they started fighting as soon as she landed, I was like, nothing has changed.
No. I mean, we knew that before she left that nothing was changed because when she tried to FaceTime it and talk to him about it or Zoom, whatever it was over, they were just like, oh, we'll talk about it when we get here. But he still wants what he wants, which is complete control over what she wears and what she does. And she's not okay with that. So, like, nothing has changed. My question is, if these things are so important to you, Mahmoud, why are you attracted to someone who is not doing those things?
Well, I think I can answer that because his brothers, so he meets up with his brothers, right? And his brothers are like 7 years and 13 years older than him. He's 30. He's never had any experience with women. This is his first experience with women. And like, I want to take it there, you guys. Okay. I want to take it there. Think about the first time that you fell in love. Think about the first time that, the first time. The first time you always A, remember that person, and B, you are in love, Google eyes. This dude is 30 years old. He's never had any experience with women. And so, yeah, he's stuck on her. And he's stuck on her because she's exotic to him. She, like he said, is crazy and strong. And probably all of the things that he's seen in Hollywood on TV, she represents those things. And oh, guess what? She lives in Hollywood. So now I have my own Hollywood starlet, blonde hair, blue eyed. She has nothing to do with my culture. She doesn't even seem like she really wants to embrace it, but she's beautiful and she's my first. That's what it is, April.
But when he saw her in the street, he sees her in the fabric store or wherever they were. If my culture is so important to me, let's say that it was, it's not. I don't care about being American, but let's say it was. If my culture is so important to me, then I wouldn't even see someone who's living a completely different life and be attracted. I could not be attracted to someone if my culture was that important to me. My religion is that important to me. And I see someone outside smoking and drinking, and that's outside the bounds of my religion. I wouldn't find it attractive.
Yeah, but you're also older and wiser, and you've had some experience. I want to remind you about someone who's 30 and his first experience is at 30. Right? So to me, yes, those things are important to him, but as a man, I feel like some other things are going to take a little bit more precedent and are going to be at the top of his mind. Because the way he was smiling, giggling, I was like, oh yeah, this is this. I know what this is.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch how it falls apart, because it will fall apart.
Oh, it's going to fall apart. So his brothers are trying to give him some advice, right? So, Mahmoud talks about how religion is his first and foremost thing that's most important to him, then family, and also prayer, right? But yes, in theory, those are what's important to him, and I understand that. I understand the culture, I understand the religion. However, he's also a man who's 30, who's not been around the block, and now he's got his own little special exotic toy that he doesn't want to let go of, even though it's a square peg and round hole. Okay. So his brothers are trying to give him some advice. So they're like, you know what? You need to educate her. And the biggest fight, and the fight that broke them up the first time, April, is over clothing and what she wears, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we find out that his older brother, Ahmed, also married a foreigner from China, and they were 2 years in marital war. It was not easy, the brother said, but they both had to want to be there, and they both had to want to learn, and they both had to want to work on themselves, right? Because no one's going to be perfect, and no one's going to have all the answers for what works in a relationship. However, I feel like Mahmoud has his ideal of what a relationship should look like, and add on his religion, add on his faith, and he has already concocted what he thinks it should look like. And in this religion specifically, it is definitely male dominated. And so he's thinking that he is making all the decisions for this woman. And Nicole's like, nah, that's what's not about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, culture clash. Okay. And it seems to me like what they're fighting about the most is what she wears. And so the brother says, you know, it's your job and your religious obligation to educate her. And in time, she'll see that what she's perceiving as constraints are actually benefits. And I actually thought that that was a really good answer. And the reason why I thought it was a good answer is because teach people. If you teach them and they learn, then they can make a informed decision on what works for them. What do you think, April?
I actually hated when he said that. And I might be wrong, but what I immediately thought about is he's going to say that you need to dress conservatively so that you can avoid causing other men to lust after you, or so that you could be treated a certain way when you're walking around in the street or whatever. When I think that it's not the responsibility of the woman to dress a particular way to be afforded respect when she's walking in the street or minding her business any other place. So if what he meant by educate her was to say that it's your job to preserve the innocence or prevent the lust of other men, I would hate that. And I think that's where my mind went. If he's talking about educate her in some other way, like
in the religion, though, isn't that what he said?
If he says like this is pleasing to Allah if you do X, Y, and Z, and that's what he means by educate, I could get behind that. But I would not get behind like middle school dress code policies that are like, well, you're going to distract the boys if you wear a skirt. No.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with you on that point. I took it differently. I thought that he was saying just educate her more about the religion, and then she will be able to see that those constraints are actually benefits. But now that I am talking it back, he's probably specifically talking about clothing, which is not cool. So so Nicole's parents come from Idaho. She's moving to Europe, or excuse me, she's moving to Egypt, and they're just really not for it. But I also feel like her parents kind of know that she's a little bit
kooky.
Yeah, and fly by the seat of her pants. And so do we want to talk about her outfit real quick? Her little, like the poor boy hat.
Yes.
The all tan. Okay, first I just want to say something. She's super quirky, and I'm not really quite sure like what her whole situation, and like she has like that, you know, one of those personalities, April, where it's just like flat, you know, like it's her talk to you like this with like no energy, no movement, but like I'm engaging. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She they have not confirmed it, but she's the one that I suspect is a trust fund baby. And she has the effect of a person who has never had any real significant struggles or challenges in life, but somehow causes themselves to have problems. Like, you could live a life with no problems, but you walk headfirst into these issues. And that's the effect that she gives me. That's the vibe I get from her.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. And I just kept looking at Harold and Wanda's faces, her parents. They just looking at her like, how is this our offspring? Like, how did we create this person?
How's all this time gone by and she never told them that she converted?
There's a lot she didn't tell them. Yuli says the Mary Poppins chimney cast member outfit. I love it. Okay, so she's moving to Egypt and her parents are just not for it. Dad's worried. He says he doesn't know anything about Egypt and he would rather that she moves closer back to Idaho. He's like, I can't get to her. She needs help. And then that line to me, again, just like irked me the wrong way. Cause like you could get on a plane, right? You made it to Los Angeles. It's just a plane ride away. Like you can get on, a couple of plane rides. You could get to her if you had to. Like, let's not be ridiculous and ignorant. Like, oh, I can't get to her. Yeah, you could. But, y'all think that America is it. But here we are. So the other thing that I thought was weird, right? Because are you so close to your family? Like your family has come and they've moved you every time you've moved, but then they found out on Facebook that you got married. Also, your mom and dad found out on Facebook.
Yeah.
I just could never. First of all, my family they would kill me. Okay. Second of all, how do you not share that special moment? And I get not all the family dynamics and everyone is like close and all the things, but it looks like they're close. They came all the way from Idaho to help you move. And this is not the first time. So like, why would you not tell your parents? And why was that not something that we talked about on the show, April?
Because my only experience with this was when I went to law school. And these trust fund kids, when they tell you that they're close to their family, what they define as close is very different from what I would say is close. Like it is, we spend vacations together. It is, we are all going to be at the ski lodge for a week in October. We're close like that. It's not like a conversational closeness that we share thoughts, ideas, and opinions. I've been in people's houses before when I discovered this world that I never knew of people who have like a vacation house, and they never have real conversations. Everything is very surface level. It was very weird to me.
Annie says, only tell them what they want to hear. Yeah, I can see what you guys are saying.
Not even just what they want to hear, but like just opinions in general. They don't share feelings and opinions. And they still say we're very close.
Yeah, it's weird. I just couldn't imagine it. So then we find out that she had 2 weddings on the same day. First was like at the Justice Department, and second, they crashed someone else's wedding because they wanted to be able to have a marital togetherness. So they had to do that, which I just was like, what?
That was the funniest thing.
Why did they rush? I don't understand why they didn't plan it. If she was there for 2 months.
They had to spend that night together. I made that up.
Oh, Jocelyn.
Yeah. It is completely my speculation that, like, how do you live in Los Angeles delivering food? Like, where's her rent getting paid from? When she decided she wanted to travel all over the world and she ended up meeting Mahmoud in Egypt and staying there, like, who was funding that? It's just she just reminds me of some of the kids that I went to school with who I learned later on were trust fund babies.
Gotcha. So then the dad asks Nicole if she wants to be Muslim. And I was like, that's a really just a strange question. I don't know if it's the wording for me, but it was just strange. But then she says, well, I already converted. I am Muslim. And I died of laughter. I was like, "You're what, Nicole?" Let me just pop this back up. "You're what, Nicole? Tell me that again." She's like, "Yeah, I converted 2 days before I got married." So not only did you not tell your family that you got married, but you didn't tell them that you converted to a whole different religion. Like I just okay. Mom's face was like buck wild. Dad's face was like buck wild. The mom literally let the words "wow" come out of her mouth. And she's like, "Yeah," Nicole's like, "Yeah, I just figure like, in the future when we have children, I want the whole family to be the same religion." Um, and what I didn't realize, she said, these are her words, not mine. "I didn't realize that every moment of your life is being Muslim." I was like, this bitch, what?
So
You thought you could say a few words and boom, you're Muslim, but then you don't have to do anything. And she's like, "Yeah, you got to wash 5 times a day and pray 5 times a day, and you got to wear a hijab." And she goes on to say, April, that she doesn't follow the dietary restrictions. She doesn't cover her hair. She refuses to wear a hijab. And she's having a crisis right now because she didn't realize that being a Muslim is going to be so much work. I just looked at her.
which also means that she's never been exposed to any religion whatsoever. Because like there's no religion where you get to just say some words and then you're a part of it. Is there? I mean, okay, I'll take it back. Maybe there's, and I haven't heard of it. But in my lifetime, whenever I've met someone who is a particular religion or from a spiritual background, it dictates a lot of their life.
Rebecca said that told me all I needed to know about her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, y'all. I was about to say something. Let me just keep to myself for now. But I don't feel like she took any time to really research what she said she was committing to. And I am having a hard time that she is calling herself Muslim when she follows none of the Muslim ways. And she knows nothing about the religion. She knows nothing about the culture. She knows nothing about the faith. But she just wants to throw these random words out there and think, oh, they're going to connect and woo, everything's going to be hunky-dory because I'm doing it in the name of love. Makes no sense to me, and it makes you sound ignorant. And it kind of is rude. It's rude because take some time. You've had all this time away from your husband. Take some time, do your research so that you can make some informed decisions. And that way you're not stuck somewhere that you really don't want to be because you don't know anything about the culture. You don't know about the lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the note. Her parents don't think that she's thought this through. Of course she hasn't thought this through. She hasn't thought anything about it.
She hasn't thought a single thing happening in her life through.
That part.
So
she goes on to say that she, quote, can't change who she is to be with him. So why are we going through this then? If you're not willing to make any compromises, and it's clear that you don't really want to convert to his faith and religion. So why are we here? April, why are we here? Why is she moving to Egypt when literally she says she doesn't want it? She literally said, "I don't want to go."
I do not have an answer. The only thing that she said in the car was that she was the one who's able to go to him. He's not able to come to her. But like, even if he came to you, does she think that like what he wants from her would change? I don't think so.
That part. So it's the day she's traveling, and I'm calling her Parisian Nicole because she had this whole you're flying to the wrong place. I feel like you need to fly to Paris instead of. You thought she looked like a mime?
Yes.
I'm calling her Parisian Nicole. She says she doesn't want to go now. She's freaking out. Doesn't want to be in Egypt. She's excited to see her husband, but doesn't want to see him in Egypt. She hated Egypt the first time round. She only lasted 2 months. But for some reason, even though she's done no research, hasn't really fixed her relationship, she feels like this is going to be a different go-round. She's hoping that it's not a huge mistake. And I'm going to tell you right now that it is a huge mistake. And like, if those are not famous last words, I don't know what is. Okay. Now, Mahmoud, we go to Mahmoud in Egypt, and I want to say, you guys, I can't remember. Brittany's dude, was he from Egypt?
Azan, Tunisia?
Oh, he's from Tunisia.
No. I'm gonna look it up really quick.
Anyways, here's why I thought of that. I thought of that, April, because Mahmoud doesn't know how to drive, and I remember that. Is it Azan? Is that his name?
Yeah, Yazan with a Y.
Yazan. Oh, it was in Jordan, Annie says.
Okay.
Oh, Bobby says Syria? No, Jordan. It was Jordan, you guys. Okay. So remember that Yazan didn't know how to drive either. And I was wondering if that's like a Middle Eastern thing. Like why so many non-male adult drivers? I'm curious about that. So Mahmoud doesn't know how to drive, and he gets his cousin to pick him up to pick up Nicole from the airport, which was very similar to what happened with Brittany.
And Yazan, yeah.
And Yazan, because Yazan got his cousin to drive him to the airport because he didn't drive. And I also too think that with Memphis, her dude didn't drive either.
Right, because they were in the back of the car together.
Yeah, like I'm just saying. So they go to the airport, and what I laughed at, I was like, because I was just thinking of all these non-drivers, April, and I was thinking, why is Mahmoud telling his cousin where to park? He's like, oh, you should try to park here. And I'm like, okay, non-driver, do you even know how to park? You're giving the licensed driver instructions when you can't even get behind a wheel.
Play your position.
Listen. Now, I cannot, and I think it's just a personal pet peeve, but if I'm driving, I'm driving. And if you're in my car, you're the passenger. And especially if you don't have a license, don't tell me nothing about nothing. I will park where I see it's safe and deemed safe to park. You don't know any better.
Yeah, I'm a good passenger. I give no opinions when I'm a passenger. I'm not even looking at the road. That's all you.
So Mahmoud has, some concerns. He's hoping that Nicole's going to love Egypt this time round. They hug, and then she has, like, again, all of these preconceived notions about what should and shouldn't happen. So she's like worried, am I not allowed to show affection? Which I really don't know what the rules are, because I feel like Soldier Boy Usman said one thing and then did something completely different with both of the women that he was involved with. And then we see Yazan said something different, Azan said something different, and now Mahmoud is saying something different. So I don't really know what the rules are, but C. Cruz says, I would love to drive with Linda. I will be a backseat driver. You could try, C. Cruz. You could try. But yeah, the music would be way up, and I control the music in my car. Thank you very much. So I don't know. I don't know what the whole thing is. I would love if you guys have, if you are Muslim and you want to come up on this panel and give us an education, I'm all for it. So they're hanging out. They hug, they show affection, and then they start fighting. They start fighting because he says, okay, my love, can you close your jacket, please? Your shirt is more small. She's like, that's rude. And already issues. So issues with the bags, issue with her clothes. And he's worried that she's going to leave. And he's like, when you're tired, you change your mind a lot. So right off the gate, he's complaining and causing issues, and she's helping with those issues. What did you think?
First, I was trying to figure out, I didn't understand what he was asking her to cover. But then I think he's talking about just the front part of her pants, like her pants were pulled up, but he just wanted the front part
covered.
Was covered, right?
Yep. That's exactly what happened.
So I mean, he wants her just go ahead and put on a full abaya, basically.
And so again, we're going back to the clothing, and I just don't think that they are going to agree on any of it. All right, let's move on. Isabelle and Gabriel. Now, April, I have a lot of questions. And you guys, I have questions. And again, YouTube, my questions are for educational purposes. So please understand that with education comes knowledge. And with knowledge comes understanding. With understanding comes more love. Okay, you guys? We're all adults here. So can we just not be idiots?
So I'm going to drop this in the chat. It's a little article that kind of explains what it's like when you have intercourse after a transition.
Okay, yeah, because those are all my questions.
Yeah, it also talks about the different kinds of transition that someone can have to obtain a penis. I think I can say penis. So that, like maybe later on you could like click on it and then open a tab, and then later on you can go back to it. Also remember when you're reading it, this is just one perspective. When they talk about the feelings part of it, not the surgery part. Mm-hmm. So different people are going to have different feelings. The surgery part is fine, but the feelings part is going to be different for different people. But just so you have like some kind of idea if you've never seen anything like that before. Did it go? Did it pop?
I don't see it. For those of you guys that are asking where I was, definitely go back to the beginning of the video. I took some time to explain all the things, and I read the YouTube things, but thank you for reaching out, and thank you guys for wondering where I was. I am back, and yeah. Okay, so Gabe, you're gonna drop that in the chat. You said, yeah?
Yes. It's not showing up.
Okay, send it. Email it to me, and then I'll pop it in.
Okay.
Okay, so Gabe's moving in a few days, and Isabelle is nervous because this is a permanent move. I don't understand why she's nervous, because she's already living in the house that or apartment with her 2 kids that Gabriel pays for. So, like, what exactly are you nervous about? We find out that her friend Samuel is the one that introduced Isabelle and Gabriel. So Samuel and Mateo, all part of the friend group. Samuel introduced them and made Gabriel a part of their friend group and showed him Colombia, all the things. And guess what? Isabelle and Gabriel hit it off. They started kissing that first night. Boom, they were together. What we do also learn is that Mateo didn't know that Gabe was trans until Isabelle texted him, because she was on his social media. And I don't think, and we talked about it a few weeks ago, I don't think that was something that Gabriel was hiding. I just think that it's something that, I don't know. You tell me, April. I don't think that that's something that he has to necessarily say every 5 seconds, if especially you don't know if you're going to be interacting with these people at a later date.
Exactly. Like they don't say exactly how they met, the 2 guys. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, the story that I made up was that Gabe got down there. Like, I have friends who do the same thing. They get on Grindr, or they get on other apps where LGBTQ people meet each other. And he met some people and said, hey, I want to know if you could take me out to see Colombia, because they want to see where are the safe places for them to go. Mm-hmm. Where are the safe places for them to go and party or go to a bar, mm-hmm. and it'll be okay. And using locals to do that is the best way to do it, obviously. And so it seems like that's how they met. That's what the story I made up in my head anyway. And then he was already friends with Isabelle. And so they went out to a bar. They all met each other there. And it seems like they have not told us exactly, but it seems like it was the very...
Did I freeze?
5 seconds either, just like you said. Uh-huh. And also not to people who are not going to be intimate with him.
That part. I agree with that part. Okay, so then they're talking about, and I don't know. Okay.
Yes, Yuli.
What did Yuli say?
Well, I don't say, hey, I'm Yuli, I'm female.
Why should he? Okay, so then Mateo asks about their first sexual encounter, and what were your thoughts on that, April?
I had a question about it because I didn't understand one part of what she was saying, and it depends on what kind of surgery Gabe had, what the answer would be.
Mm.
And I don't necessarily think that Gabe should kind of go into that detail. So it might just be an unanswered question that we never know. But the question I had was, what is she perceiving as semen?
Oh yeah, well I'm not even there yet, but
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I guess my thing was, I get you guys are all friend group and family kind of, right? Because those are your besties. But like, I guess I was wondering what Mateo's intentions were when he asked about their first sexual encounter, because it wasn't like, oh, hey girl, was it good? It was more like, what was it?
Uh-huh.
And then she says that she was a bit scared, but then, quote, Gabe totally looks like a man. And then, so that, again, from what I'm learning with you, April, is that, I don't know, like, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, like, as I'm learning about the transgender community, it's like transgender doesn't have to look a certain way. And so, like, for a female that transitioned into a man, or like the male gender, I don't know if all men look the same and have to be the same. So like, why are we making that comparison? Does that make sense, April?
Yes, I know what
Okay.
you're saying. She is unfortunately falling into the idea that because he presents a certain way, that it's a safe or an okay format of a trans person to exist.
But for someone like me who doesn't know enough about the community, but I'm learning, is that not, because like,
Detrimental?
yeah, because TLC is such a huge platform that, so now like you're putting that stereotype, for a lack of
Yes.
better word, out there, when it's not, from what I'm learning, just
Yes.
about that.
It is detrimental, but it's also, I think it's a lot to put on Isabel's shoulders. Like, I'm not going to criticize her for this because it's a lot to put on her shoulders when she's also learning things, that she has to be able to express this the best way. Also, Gabe is probably feeding her these kind of things too, because he's taken the position
Got it.
that he's a quote unquote full man because he's transitioned. Whereas, that takes away from other people who cannot or maybe don't want to go through a full sex operation.
Gotcha. Okay.
So maybe we'll see them grow. Maybe we won't, but I don't think that TLC is going to be like, hey, we need to talk to you guys about how you're talking about this. No, they're not. They don't care.
And I maybe they don't. I don't know. Maybe they don't know enough either, right? So, Isabel goes on to say that he's clinically and medically perfect, and so he can perform. But okay, so and again, UT, this is a question. It's a medical question. I don't know, so just calm down, everybody. Okay, just got my page back, so calm down. But she asked, because she asked this question, so it's actually even a quote. But where does the semen come from? And so I didn't know. Is that possible? Sorry.
So we don't know exactly what Gabe's composition was before he transitioned. Because he could have been born intersex. He didn't say that, but it's possible. I wonder if she's perceiving semen as just ejaculation.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like, and it's,
But
because
so, but sorry, April. So
Mhm.
then, just like for my and I know I could Google it, but so like that's not possible normally then?
Normally, no.
Even if they're taking hormones?
No,
Okay.
because you wouldn't have the testicles to produce semen.
Okay.
That's not as far as I know, and you can read the article to see how they do.
Oh, did you send it to me?
The operation that it's not an option to manufacture semen production.
Got it. Okay.
Unless Gabe was born as an intersex person who maybe already had some of the male reproductive system.
Gotcha. Oh, why isn't it letting me do it either?
I don't know. It's like I could see it on my screen when I did it, but maybe there's a block.
April, thank you for explaining this.
I'm trying, Amanda.
Let me figure that out later, you guys. So then
because you can create a penis, and that's where we see the skin come off of his leg for that. Mm-hmm. But creating functional testicles that would produce semen, I don't think that's a possibility. But she could just be perceiving ejaculation, like female ejaculation, for lack of a better word, as semen, because he could still do that.
Gotcha. I have other questions, but I'm going to leave it for now because, like, it's my first day back.
Yes, it's the first day back. Let's not.
Yeah. But again, everyone, this is all for educational purposes. We're all learning together, so let's not discriminate. And if this is not for you, then feel free to move on. But I can tell by the live chat that we're all trying to get the same questions answered so that we can be informed and we can love on each other and not know. I don't know. Do you want to address that S for A comment?
That's great. You need to have the internal parts to do that. And if you were born female, you don't have them. Well, yeah. Well, we believe Gabe was assigned female at birth, not assigned intersex at birth. He can come back and clarify that. I could be wrong. But yeah, unless he was born with that part of the reproductive system, that part cannot be manufactured.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Isabelle is talking about how Gabe has integrated with her friends and family really well, with her kids really well as well. And one of the things that I thought was really important to mention is that her youngest, Miguel, doesn't know that Gabe is transgender. Is transsexual a word?
It is a word. It has very negative connotations.
It does?
Yes.
Sorry, didn't mean it.
Yeah, you didn't know.
But the friends are like, listen, you raised Miguel to have respect. You raised him to be inclusive. You raised him to be respectful of diversity. And I thought that was like the best line of the episode.
Yeah.
And that is what I'm trying to do here, you guys, is just be respectful. I want to learn what I don't know. I want to bring on people like April who know a lot more so that we can all educate ourselves. And I know if I have questions, I know that you guys have questions. And inclusion, it's 2023, you guys, like, come on. Like, do we even need to talk about inclusion? Just be inclusive. And then diversity, I mean, especially some of the places in the US, but y'all don't have enough diversity in that. And because you don't have enough diversity, you're scared of what you do not know. And so if we don't have these conversations, then unfortunately, ignorance begets ignorance.
Yeah. It does. I was thinking about something that someone asked in the chat last time when Jeymi was talking about going to a therapist and in the process of therapy came to understand that she was lesbian. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about it because I wanted to, if that person is still here, like talk about that. And I was thinking about when I was younger and different things would happen to me that I knew were not quite right, but they weren't racist. They were just like not right things that had occurred. I knew it and I felt it, But it wasn't until I got in college that I learned the word microaggression.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it was always there. It always existed. I always had these experiences, but I wasn't until I was 19, 20 years old till somebody gave me a word to explain what I was experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the therapy process, Jeymi can explain exactly what happened to her, but she probably always had these feelings, and the therapist was the first one to give her a word to associate with it.
Gotcha. Thank you for sharing that. So it's move date. Okay, so let me just say that. So part of the issue that we're going to see is that Isabelle has a very conservative family, and so she's worried that she thinks her mom she'll be able to like have a conversation. She's really worried about her dad because her dad doesn't seem to be as open to things that are different than him. And she says that he's reserved and deeply religious. So I think that that's where there's going to be a point of contention. And then she's asked, what if your dad says no and is not accepting of Gabe? What will you do? And she says that she doesn't want to decide between her family and her relationship, which is, that's fair. But it may come to that. So then what? Right? So it's move day for Gabe. He has mixed feelings. Leaving is going to be very difficult because he too is close to his family, and he feels guilty for leaving them because his family has always been there for him, he says.
Mm-hmm.
And so it hasn't really hit him yet that he's going to be in a different country away from his family who are his support. So when he is having like the day-to-day issues and the life issues and the issues that are specific to transgender, and his family is there to pick up the pieces and help him through, he's not going to have that so readily available to him. So he's a little bit concerned about that. And his sister, Monica, is like, are you concerned that you're not going to have your support system? But B, are you also concerned that this move is going to create kind of like a rift in our family because we are so close and it's always been me, you, and mom and together all the time. And so, like, are you worried about that? And he's basically like, I would never allow that to happen. I would never allow us to like go days and weeks and months without talking. Like, that doesn't even make sense to me. And then she's like, are you nervous to come out to her family? And that was one of my questions. So when the gay community comes out, April, it's considered coming out. It's the same thing with transgender.
Yes.
Coming out? Okay.
Yes.
That was my question. So he's nervous to come out to her family because his ex's family didn't accept him, and that broke his last relationship. And he wants to be open and honest in this relationship, and he wants to have no secrets. But Isabelle is already like backstepping a little bit, like maybe we just don't tell them. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think Isabelle is failing right now, because if these are her friends that she went out to have lunch with, and she's been friends with them for a long time, then her parents should have been eased into her integration into the community. And the more they were eased into it, if these are your friends, then it wouldn't be such a big reveal, would it?
Right.
Like at this point in time, because I have so many friends of different backgrounds, if I showed up at my parents' house with a girl and said, this is my girl, I'm dating her, nobody would bat an eye, even though I've never done it before, because I've so thoroughly integrated them.
Makes sense.
So she's had an opportunity to do that over this past, 8 months or whatever before Gabe comes to make his permanent move, and she's failing in that.
Agreed.
So to me, it shows what is really important to you. If you raised your son to be inclusive and be diverse, great. But how important is that to you if you're like, I've got a conservative dad and I haven't even broached a single conversation with him?
That part. Everything that you just said. We are going to move on because I waited and I waited and I waited
for your
this
favorite,
one. Debbie. First of all, Debbie's 67, and shade, no shade. I just want to put it in perspective, but Angela is 57. She's from
Wait a minute. Roll that back again. Roll it back again. She is
Debbie right here on your screen is 67. Angela from Michael and Angela is 57. I need you to put that in perspective. Okay.
That's an ad to quit cigarettes right there.
Cigarettes. She drinks like 100 sodas a day,
Yes.
allegedly. Oh. Anyways, Debbie, 67 from Sugar Hill, Georgia. I love her already. Her opening scene, she's like in this antique place. She's playing princess for a day. She acknowledges that she's eccentric. She acknowledges that she's quirky. And she has her own hashtag, So Debbie. This is So Debbie. And she acknowledges that, you know, she hears a different drummer drumming in her head and she's okay with it. And I find her refreshing because guess what? She's not trying to fit in any type of box. She's just trying to do what makes her happy, April. And I'm about it.
I like her because she's had some bad experiences that could have left her being a negative, sad, depressed person. And she's choosing to delight in herself and have some happiness. Yes, Rebecca.
Rebecca said, if I look that good at 67, I might have me a tenderoni too. Amanda says, I love Debbie. She has no flaws at all. She's perfect. And Yuli says, I love her, but I feel like she's getting played like a game by this grandchild who looks like he's walking her down the street. And Annie says it's all about the vitamins. Okay, so listen, we'll talk about this shortly, Yuli. Okay, so I love all the things so far about Debbie. I love that she's a knick-knack queen. I couldn't personally be, but I love it for her. I love the fact that she makes jewelry. She sells jewelry. Her home is filled with antiques and artwork. She's an artist. And I'm sensitive about my I love all of that. And she said something that I didn't know and I have to look up. But she said as a child, she used to go to the quarries. And I was like, what is that? And from there, she loved painting. And she started painting at a young age. And painting is her friend. And I loved that line too. I was like, oh, Debbie. I love Debbie. Okay.
So there was a lot of construction where I grew up. I grew up in Georgia, y'all. And so they would leave it open, the construction areas, and there would be rock quarries in the construction areas. I think that's what she was talking about.
Oh, that totally makes sense. Yeah. Okay, thank you. See, we love April. Okay, so what we do learn, which also just shows me that either she's done the work and she's healed herself, or a combination of the two, but we find out that her mom had a lot of mental health issues. And so she never knew what a healthy relationship looked like. And so she has a couple marriages under her belt. First time she got married, it only lasted 4 years. And from that, she got her son, Julian. And I'm going to be talking a little bit of stuff about Julian because Julian made all the hairs on my arm raise. And then shortly thereafter, she had a quick turnaround. She got married quick because she got pregnant and she had a daughter named Sandy, and that marriage lasted for 23 years. But like she said, there's a difference between a prince and the big bad wolf. And as females, oftentimes we think we're going to have the fairy tale and reality is not the fairy tale. And we're left thinking like, what just happened? And that happened to be the case for Debbie. So Debbie realized like her husband was spending too much time away and traveling and all the things. So she hired a private detective, and turns out that he was cheating and had a whole other woman in a whole separate country. And Debbie found out and was like, peace out, and left him. And then she was alone for 12 years and she swore off men for 12 years. And she just really focused, I think, and this part I'm just making up, but this is what I'm seeing, is that she spent time with herself and healing herself through art and through being creative. And so she's on social media, her words. I was like, oh, go ahead, Debbie, be hip. Be hip with the words, be hip with the terms. So she met Oussama on Facebook, and he kind of said, hey, I'm an artist too. Apparently he's 24, you guys. He's an artist. I'm looking at him and he does not look artsy to me, but who am I to judge? But he's an artist and a poet, 24, from Morocco. And they bonded over their love of art and how he would compliment her art and she would compliment his art. And her words, a tree that took root in her heart and she fell in love. So they bonded over their art. She went to visit him after 6 months of them talking back and forth online. And she didn't know his age at first, which I thought was interesting. And she didn't find out till she was visiting him. And he convinced her that it's not about age, but about them being a team. And one of the things she shares is that the way she keeps fresh and young looking is she takes a lot of vitamins and supplements, and they're important to her. And her words, she's fixing to move to Morocco in a couple weeks. And guess who's not for it? Her son, Julian. Let's talk about Julian. So Julian and Debbie are super close, according to Debbie. And here's what I just don't get, April.
Mm-hmm.
Debbie is like a free spirit. She seems to be peace and love and joy and happiness, creative. And then we meet Julian, who is not as creative, who's 100% a Debbie Downer, who nays and poo-poos on his mom. And he's not a fan of Oussama. He says that he's using her. And Debbie's like, he's the things that he says about her relationship with Oussama is that he's hateful about it. He gets on her case about it. He thinks that she's being used, and she's like, I'm 67. It's not even about money. He hasn't asked me about money. And do you really think that I would just give my bank accounts over like that? And then we find out he's a police officer. And like, I just feel like Mr. from the South police officer has a specific way he does his business, and he sees things in only a certain way. And perhaps to him, everything is black and white and there are no shades of gray. But I'm just surprised that this free loving woman has such a rigid son.
I think we're seeing a post 2 divorces Debbie. This is probably not the Debbie that raised him. Like he came out of that first marriage where she was not treated well. And then the second marriage, before the affair, she doesn't say how she was treated in that marriage, but I'm just imagining her being a cook and clean kind of housewife, raising that child. That child conforms to authority. She gets 2 divorces. And now she's a free spirit painter moving to another country, and her son is not, that's not who he was raised by. That's what I think.
Interesting.
If I am not the person today that I was when I had my kid at 23. So I imagine for her at 67, she's probably pretty far away.
I see what you're saying. I don't like him.
I don't like him either. He gave me, well, first of all, I have an admitted bias against people who choose to be police officers. I will admit it. Sometimes I think that people are after a certain power dynamic when they choose the career. And that's one of them that I feel like that happens with. Also, police officers have like the highest rate of domestic violence. So, and then he's from Georgia and he's a police officer, and I just got Confederate vibes from him.
I got Confederate vibes too. I didn't want to say it. That's why I was like, he's from the South. He sees things black and white. And then he's going to come over to the house and talk crazy to his mama, saying that Oussama is young. He comes from a third world country. He has no job. And she's being 100% catfish. Well, she went there 3 times.
Yeah, that's not what catfish is.
So that's not what catfish is.
No.
So let's also know what words we're using, Julian. Yeah. Second of all, he's worried. Julian's worried that Oussama's going to take everything from her. But I got the vibe that he doesn't want his mom to live her best life because he's waiting for the estate. He's waiting for the trust. He's waiting for that money. And if she's going to spend it on someone else and not have that money banked up for when she passes away so he can collect, that's what he's mad at. He's not mad at, oh, mom's living her best life. Let her go and live her best life. He's thinking, oh, wait a minute. That's mom money that I've been sitting here waiting on, doing all the things. Like you said, she's now a free spirit, and maybe she wasn't a free spirit 20 years ago. And he feels he put in his time, so he's about to get his check once this lady croaks.
You know what he could do if that's what he was worried about? He could go with her. On any of the visits that she's had so far, he could have gone. He could go this time and stay for a week or whatever.
Because he's not worried about her. He's worried about that money, honey.
If he was really, truly concerned about his mom and the way that he's saying that he is, he could just go and meet him. But he's choosing not to. Instead, he's choosing to be like, he's this brown man trying to get your money.
That's it. That part. So they argue back and forth, back and forth. He's like, Lord, give me strength. I was like, Julian, what you're not about to do is pull in our Lord, God, and Savior into your biased, shitty attitude. That's what you're not about to do. God is not going to be rewarding all of what you're doing. Just say. So they argue. And then my favorite line of the night, I didn't just fall off the turnip truck, Julian.
The course of this season, Debbie's gonna say like every quintessential Southern phrase. Like next episode, she's gonna be like, "Lord willing, and the creek don't rise."
I'm here for it. I am here for it. Oh, hey Lisa, hey girl, hey Stevie, hey. So last and certainly not least, what you laughing at?
Natatat.
Oh, Natatat. I can't even, but you're not wrong, Natatat. You're not wrong. Last and certainly not least, let's talk about Danielle and Yohan. I just want to put this disclaimer out there. I really do love Danielle, and she really is lovely. And if you're new to this channel and you haven't checked out the interview that I did with her, please go check it out now that my page is back and all my content is back. Check that out. But I don't know if she's getting a bad edit. I don't know if she's having an off season. I don't know what it is. But I will tell you that what she's doing right now is driving me crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Because let me just throw this out there real quick. Okay, I'm about to go on a rant. Y'all know how I get sometimes, but I have to get this out of my system. Okay, Danielle, first of all, you had this shotgun wedding, right? Where it was weird. If you guys remember back in her season on Love in Paradise, where they just like walked on the beach, they faced each other, they said some words. There was no officiant, there was no nothing, there was no paper, and then they ran into the water, and we were all confused. Like, are you married? Are you not married? Like, what was that? The marriage? Was that the wedding? I don't get it. But you loved him then. You talked about the baby leg, all the things, and how much you loved him and wanted to be with him. But you also know he was broke as a joke because you met him. He had no money. You decided to be in a relationship with him. And yes, you complained about the $200 peanuts, but guess what? You still paid. Mm-hmm. You complained about buying his tuxedo that was like $60 or whatever it was for the wedding. But guess what? You still paid. You complained that you pay for everything, for the dinners and the meals out, but guess what? You still paid. So you set up the tone for your relationship. Yes. You set up what you're willing to put up with and what you're not willing to put up with. So what you're not about to now do is marry the man who you already knew was broke as a joke and then go around and complain how he doesn't have any money, how he's not going to contribute, how he can't contribute, and you don't want to be the sole breadwinner. You came in as a sole breadwinner, Danielle. Things have not changed. Things have not changed. He's trying to be a better person by starting a business. And guess what you're doing? You're poo-pooing on his business. You're not only like, hey, we're not going to go to America so that I can be in the land of the free and where dreams come true. Okay. If that's not the case, now he's in the Dominican Republic. He started a business. He's trying to build generational wealth for him and his family. And you want to shut that down. And not only do you want to shut that down, you want him to put a time frame of 6 months that you're going to shut this down. And what's your plan? No. Nope, not for it. It's making you look dumb. It's making you look selfish. And it's making me feel like you don't understand who you married. And you indeed married him. Okay, I'm done.
No, I agree. I just, one little minor, like tiny thing is that he's not actually broke. He's simply supporting a ton of people. He's supporting like so many people in that household that he doesn't have the extra money to do. Now, if she was willing to look for a place for them to live outside of what she already admitted is the expat community, then they could find somewhere to live where his contribution would go further. But she's not willing to do that. She wants to look at apartments that are $2,000 a month, which is ridiculous.
So this is another thing that I just think like American, sometimes you got to take the American out of you and just look to see where you are. And perhaps a different environment, and you let go of what you only know, might change your perspective, and it might actually give you a whole different journey. But the simple fact that, you go to friggin' Timbuktu and you want McDonald's, and you go to Timbuktu and you want a Walmart because you want to know what's familiar to you and you want to go where you want to go. And then you go to the McDonald's in Timbuktu and it doesn't taste like the McDonald's in America, and then you complain and it drives me crazy. So Danielle's here in the Dominican Republic. She wants a lush apartment, and there are things that are must-haves, and she must have, while they're apartment hunting, a dishwasher, a washer and dryer in suite, 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. She needs parking. She needs a pool. She needs a terrace, and she needs AC in every room.
She's ridiculous. She's ridiculous. But I know it's such an American thing, because when I moved to Mexico, I told you, I had a tiny apartment that was on top of a bodega. I didn't have an onion. I didn't have an oven. I didn't have a microwave. And the bedrooms, me and my son's bedroom, I had to walk through the bedroom to get to the living room. So, and we had 1 bathroom that had outdoor plumbing. So we had to like cover it to not smell the smell come up from the ground. That was, for me, I'm like, I'm here to have an authentic experience. And also I want to live off of what I earn here. So I need to get an apartment where I can pay for, out of pesos, not out of dollars. But every single person who came to visit me was like, oh my God, April, do you need some money? Like, they could not understand the idea that someone would want like a real unique experience.
Yeah, yep. And then the other thing that I don't understand about Danielle, if you're listening, is that you left New York City and you said you don't want the hustle and bustle and you don't want to pay all the things, but then you're looking for a $2,000 apartment in the Dominican Republic. A $2,000 apartment?
Yeah. That's ridiculous. That's really ridiculous.
I don't understand. I just don't understand. And then you're complaining. And here's the thing. So the other part that I just was like, nah, no. She's like, she doesn't think that her business is going to last. And she literally asked him, what are you going to need to close it? That's your husband. Where is the support? Where's the encouragement? Where is like, hey, listen, you tried to do something. How can I help make you successful? What can I do to continue to support your dream and your goals?
Why does she care? I was trying to understand, why does she care? If it is losing money, Why does she care?
But
She's not funding it, is she?
Well, she's not, but she feels like, I guess that's taking away from their marital money. I don't know. I don't know why she's being so unsupportive, because she also too is a small business owner, and she too is going to start her yoga or whatever online. That's going to take money, and you're not going to be successful right away. It's like running a YouTube page. You're not going to have 10,000 followers right away. You have to build that shit. So like, I don't understand. A refrigerator for the bathroom. I don't understand where she's coming from. And the other part that I didn't like at all, April, and you know the Dominican culture, okay, and also just even African culture. I'm just going to tell you guys, in a lot of cultures, it's, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, it's very like machismo and male dominated. And when she said to this 6'7" Dominican Republic man that she's going to need him to come home and do the cooking and cleaning, and do more things at home, she said, if I pay for everything, you have to do more around the house because you're my wife. I said, if that is not the most emasculating thing to say to this man, I don't know what is. And it's the deep disrespect. You know who you married. You know what he was bringing to the table. And now, not only are you poo-pooing on his hopes and dreams, not only are you not supporting his vision for building generational wealth and starting a business, but now you're emasculating him.
Yeah. She's playing into the stereotype that she doesn't like. You don't like that stereotype that women do these things. So why are you playing into it to insult him? You know, but I also didn't like when he said, you don't want to cook for me. And she said she doesn't want to work. And he was like, it's not work, it's cooking for your husband. What? That is work.
He said, in the Dominican Republic, the man, he said, goes out and work, comes home, and the woman goes out and works and come home, but she also cooks. I was like, I'm still stuck on everything that Danielle was doing, that all the things that he was saying. I was just like, oh, y'all didn't have the conversation, did you?
This was like the worst conversation in the whole show.
But they didn't have the conversation, April, before they got married.
No, they didn't.
What roles are you two playing in your relationship?
He thought they were going to be in New York. So this wasn't a conversation that Yohan would have ever anticipated that he was having.
Listen, I haven't seen either of them cook. I haven't seen either of them clean. I'm just saying. And now you're looking for a $2,000 apartment in the Dominican Republic? Like, let's get real.
And there are reasonable places that she could live that are not going to be so expensive. But I guess since she's coming from New York, where she said she was paying like $4,000 a month, is that what she said before in the other episode?
I can't remember how much, but she was paying a lot that she didn't want to pay. $3,500, I think she said.
I guess she's looking at it like, I get a better deal with all the amenities here for a smaller price, but to pay that price in the Dominican is ridiculous, in my opinion.
Diana said, Linda, if I ever get married, I will make a checklist with your topics, I swear. Listen, Diana, do it. I actually got a message from someone that I actually helped. She was in a relationship. She asked the questions, found out that they were on totally different pages, and they had to part ways. I'm saving you time now so that you don't have a bunch of divorces under your belt. That's all I'm saying. Have the conversations. Have the conversations. They're important.
I agree.
That being said, any last thoughts, April?
Last thoughts. I said earlier that I was not rooting for anybody, but I want Danielle to have a better edit, or either like have some more optimism, ma'am. Because I watched her interview. I liked her. I liked her sharing her spirituality. And I think she has, potential to be like a really good character on the show if she would just stop being such a negative Nancy, or at least tell us why you're being so negative. Like, if you want him to shut the shop, man, they're already shot it. It's not gonna happen now. But you want him to shut it down because he's asking you for money every month to help run it, then okay, I understand. But like, it seems like you're just being negative for no reason.
Yeah. And you weren't like that in any of your other seasons. So what happened? You got married and got bitter? What? Tell me.
No idea. Like the
Make
sudden
it make
idea that
sense.
he's gonna start paying.
Make it make sense. Rebecca says, I gotta go watch the interview now. Rebecca,
Yeah.
please go watch it. You'll love it. And Bobby says, we really did miss you. You guys, I missed you guys too. This is so much fun. That's why we've been talking so long. April, thank you so much for just always being available and coming on and shedding your wisdom and your light. And you're doing the work of so many. Okay. You're doing the work of so many because you're educating us. And let me tell you, education is going to be key for all of us to just try to really understand each other better. And I'm about that.
Yeah.
Graham says, I want to know if he knows about the bankruptcy she filed in New York. If he didn't know, he knows now because it went viral. It's all over the internet. Everyone's talking about it. So if he didn't know, he knows now. And Amanda says, thank you, queens. Thank you, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends that my page is back. And let's get those numbers up, you guys. I see that, you missed me and I missed you. So let's grow the page and like share the love. Yes, thank you. I enjoy you ladies so much. We enjoy you guys. Thank you, Linda and April. Let's all thank April. You guys definitely make sure to go check out her YouTube page. And the link that she sent, I will put it in the description because for some reason it won't go in our live chat. Until tomorrow, you guys. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. My hands look green.
They do.
Right? Weird.